what's up? It's Mr. E here, and our aim for this video is how do we simplify complex fractions. So let's begin with a complex fraction here. I want you to try to see if you could simplify this. Essentially, what you want to do is simplify the numerator, simplify the denominator, and then simplify the result of that. All right, so let's begin with the numerator. I'm going to put a spotlight on it because I want us to just focus on simplifying the numerator for now. Let's just focus on that. Okay, so we got 1 over 4 plus 5 over 2. You're adding two fractions. Whenever you're adding or subtracting fractions, you know you need a common denominator. All right, we've covered that, so I'm not going to go into detail about that. I'm going to multiply this by 2 over 2, so I could get a common denominator of 4. So when I rewrite, I get 1 over 4 plus 10 over 4. Now I could join these two fractions because they have a common denominator. Remember that rule we've been talking about? A over C plus B over C is equal to A plus B over C. Well, I'm going to invoke that rule here, and I'm going to say 1 plus 10 over 4. And 1 plus 10 is just 11, and I get 11 over 4. So that's what I get when I simplify the numerator. Now we simplify the denominator. So let's look at the denominator. We're just going to focus on the denominator. So again, you are adding fractions here, so you need a common denominator. So I'm going to multiply by 4 over 4 on that fraction there, and I get 12 over 4 plus 9 over 4. Join the fractions because you have a common denominator now. And you get 12 plus 9 over 4. 12 plus 9 is 21, so you get 21 over 4. So here's what you got. Let's take the spotlight out. You got 11 over 4 over 21 over 4. So that's what you got, 11 over 4 over 21 over 4. We could rewrite that as 11 over 4 divided by 21 over 4. So we're just dividing fractions here. So how do you divide fractions? You remember, you're going to change the operation to multiplication, and you're going to flip the fraction you're dividing by. So it's a multiplication problem now. Multiply across. You're going to get 44 over what? So you get 44 over 21 times 4, which is 84. That could be reduced, and it reduces to 1/2. So the final answer is 1/2. And that was just the warm-up. I know, right? Sounds like a lot of work. All right, here's an example. Actually, let's talk about what a complex fraction is first. A complex fraction is a fraction in which the numerator, denominator, or both also contain fractions. So for example, this is a complex fraction, this is a complex fraction, this is a complex fraction. I know those look ugly, don't they? Don't worry, you'll be just fine, hopefully by the end of this video, and we will work in class together on these. Okay, so let's look at our first example. Don't panic, okay? Let's just focus on the numerator for now and try to simplify that first. So let's try to simplify the numerator first. Okay, x squared over 32 minus 2. I can rewrite that as x squared over 32 minus 2 over 1. Right? I can put the 2 over 1. So I need a common denominator. To get a common denominator, I'll multiply this by 32 over 2. 32 over 32, excuse me. And what do I get? Well, I didn't multiply by anything on this fraction, so that's just x squared over 32. But 2 times 32 is 64, and 1 times 32 is 32. So I get x squared over 32 minus 64 over 32. I can join that together as one fraction, and I get x squared minus 64 over 32. All right, now let's go to the denominator. And we're just going to focus on the denominator for now. So I'm going to rewrite it. It's x over 16 minus a half. I need a common denominator here, so I'm going to multiply by 8 over 8. Whoops, that 8 feels like dancing, it looks like. Stop doing that. Stop it. Okay. Okay, 8, stop that. All right. Okay, oh boy, okay. All right, okay, I'm going to have to delete it. Okay, it stopped. I mean, when you feel the beat, you know, you just feel the beat, I guess. Anyways, I digress. So I get x over 16 minus 8 over 16, right? Because I didn't multiply by anything in this fraction, so it's just x over 16. 1 times 8 is 8. 2 times 8 is 16. Now I could join that together as one fraction, and I get x minus 8 over 16. All right, now I can look at the big picture. I got x squared minus 64 over 32, right? You didn't forget about that one. Over x minus 8 over 16. So I got a fraction divided by another fraction. So let me just rewrite that like this. X squared minus 64 divided by x minus 8 over 16. Now, remember when you divide fractions, change the division to multiplication, and you're going to flip the fraction you're dividing by. Okay? Now, if you can factor, and this could be factored, x squared minus 64 could be factored. It's going to factor to x minus 8 times x plus 8. So we get that over 32. And then this is just 16 over x minus 8. So we got x minus 8 times x plus 8 over 32 times 16 over x minus 8. Now, since you're multiplying here, you can cancel out x minus 8 with x minus 8. You can do that when you're multiplying. If this was an addition sign, you can't do that. Please keep that in mind. Okay, don't confuse multiplying fractions with adding fractions. So this cancels out with this, and you are left with 16 times x plus 8 over 32, right? Because you're just multiplying across here. You're left with an invisible 1 here, so it's just 32 times 1, you get 32. And additionally, this could be reduced. 16 over 32 could be reduced to 1/2. So you get x plus 8 over 2. That right there is your final answer. final answer. Okay, so to conclude, here are some guidelines for simplifying complex fractions. You should write these down. These are the guidelines that I used for the warm-up and example 1. See here, I'm trying to create a single fraction right over here. I'm trying to create a single fraction in the numerator. Over here, I'm trying to create a single fraction in the denominator. I'm following those two guidelines in the beginning. So remember, the main fraction line means divide, so we write the fraction using a division symbol. That's what we did here. We just rewrote this over here. So you got this thing here going on, and I just rewrote it like that. And then, you're just going to follow the rules of dividing fractions. So follow the normal rules for dividing fractions. Invert/flip the second term. The denominator of the complex fraction, that's the second term, and multiply across. Simplify if needed. So keep that in mind. Whoops, let me get rid of that. If you can factor, like here, make sure you factor. All right. I hope this video helps. Take care.